Hello, everybody. Welcome to another post-practice report. I am Brian Nemhauser. You can find me at YouTube, on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere at Hawk Blogger. As you can tell, I am at home for this post-practice report. I raced home on my bike and wanted to get in this post-practice report just before we do the next episode of the Seahawks Collective, which is coming up here in about a half an hour over on the Seahawks Collective channel, where I'll be with Michael Sean Dugar and Rob Staten, and we will have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to try to get through this in 20 minutes or less, and that is going to be a chore because, my goodness, there was a lot that went on today. What I will say, this was the second Seahawks padded practice. It was the first padded practice without any fans present. And one thing that has become very clear early on here is Mike Macdonald is probably going to show fewer things when there are a bunch of fans on the berm than when it's closed off to just a few VIPs and the press. And I'm sure he'll show even more when the press isn't able to see and all that stuff. But a lot more went on in this practice. The intensity ramped up quite a bit. There were a number of scuffles in this practice. You know, one of them that led to punches being thrown and that whole thing, but a lot of intensity. And I think the overall theme of the day, if I was to give a, award for the group that had the best showing today, I would say it was the offensive line. And in particular, I think I would say it was Gray Zabel and Charles Cross. Those two guys opened up a number of holes on the left side of the line. The running game was much better than it had been the previous day. I thought it was okay yesterday. Mike Macdonald didn't. There's no question it was more productive today, regardless of how yesterday was perceived to be. And I thought Sam Darnold had a nice day, made some nice throws, had a great touchdown pass to A.J. Barner over the middle during red zone drills. A.J. Barner, did what's becoming his kind of customary touchdown celebration where I don't know, I'm sure it's a reference to something, but he was pretty excited. There was a nice in the similar red zone drill. This was with Drew Lock behind center. George Halani had a touchdown on that particular play. Brady Russell had a great kick out block as a fullback there. Then Jalen Milroe came in for the red zone drill, handed off to Damian Martinez, who blew through the middle of the line for a touchdown. So the offense got off to a much faster start today. And I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but Sam Darnold was doing a very late before practice workout in the weight room, and he was pretty excited about the music selection. Maybe he was the one choosing it. There was some Green Day playing. I think there was some Fall Out Boy. There was, oh my gosh, I'm spacing on the other one. But in any event, it was a little bit of rock, and Sam Darnold was pretty excited about it. And the offense came out with a bit of a pep in their step. The thing that's just been going on considerably in this is, just a lot of bootlegs, a lot of under center play action. That's what this offense is predicated on. There was a play a little bit later. They were at the 35-yard line. Sam Darnold takes a bootleg. And in this case, it wasn't a scramble because he had to, but there was no one in front of him. So he took off running, would have been, 10, 15-yard gain at least. There was in that same series, the next play, Leonard Williams beat Gray Zabel, and tackled the running back for a loss. There was then the play after that. We've been talking about it. I talked about it this morning, where the deep throw is going to come from. Is this offense going to have a vertical aspect? Are they just going to be a horizontal kind of separation team? Sure enough, today, a lot of vertical throws. And then this first one went to Jackson Smith and Jigba, 30 yards down the field on the left sideline. He beat Josh Jobe, made a great catch. It was a beautiful throw from Sam Darnold. One of the best big plays I've seen so far in camp. The next play after that, they handed off on an inside counter play to Zach Charbonnet. Gray Zabel was the one leading the counter and absolutely blew open the hole. Next play after that, Sam Darnold throws a quick swing pass to Cooper Kupp for another 7-8 yards. It was just like very productive early session for the offense and for Sam Darnold's crew. On those plays where he was dropping back, he was having some time to do it. So the pass protection was pretty good as well. Drew Lock came in. He had a boot pass to Eric Saubert. Then one of the things that started happening is he started looking for Derek Young deep. On the first time, Derek Young wasn't, I don't know if they crossed wires, but he wasn't really expecting it. He kind of had throttled down with Nehemiah Pritchett in coverage. A little bit later, Drew Lock threw it up to Marquez Valdez-Scantling along the sideline, and it was a bad decision. Nehemiah Pritchett picked it off, returned it for a touchdown. Good for Nehemiah Pritchett. I don't think it was particularly like great play on his part. It was more of a bad decision from Drew Lock than it was a great play by Pritchett, but he did make the play, and that's great. Looking through a couple of these others, D'Anthony Bell had some nice tackles on a couple run plays back to back. There was a pressure and what would have been a sack on Jalen Milroe by Jalen Gaines, who again I think has had a nice camp. This time he beat the blitz pickup, I think, by Jacardia Wright, the running back, but he blew that play up. Later on in practice, Jalen Milroe was on a boot, and this is the first time I've seen Jalen Milroe kind of on this boot action on the edge. And my God, when he does the boot, and there's a couple defenders nearby him, and he just decides to run away, and there was no chance. It was like a Ferrari being chased by a Prius. Like it was not going to happen. And so that was kind of the first time we've seen him just turn on the jets and utilize his legs, which we know he's got, but it was cool to watch that and see him just really motor off there. Let's see there's a bunch of stuff. I'll get to the scuffles in a little bit. If you haven't already, click like, subscribe, click the bell to get notified. Now's the time to do it. Go to patreon.com/hawkblogger, support the show, get ad-free audio of this show, and also get access to the Discord channel where we hang out and talk all day long. All right. Let's see. So Jalen Sundell was all over the place today. Center, right guard, moving around. I thought he had a nice practice. There was a play where it wasn't all offense today for sure. The defense definitely made their share of plays. And on this particular play that I'm looking at, there was pretty quick pressure, and it wasn't because someone blew a block. Mike McDonald's defense brought more rushers than there were guys to block them. And, Sam Darnold had to throw it away really quickly. A guy on offense that did not have, I don't think, a particularly good day is Christian Haynes. There's a play with Drew Lock in there. He tossed it to Damian Martinez to the right. There wasn't a lot there, partially because Christian Haynes was beat. One of the plays of the day, this got a lot of hooting and hollering going, especially for the offense. Derek Young absolutely mossed Demarion Williams, number 37, for a deep touchdown. I don't know how long it was. I want to say 60 yards. This was Drew Lock throwing to him, and Derek Young reached over Demarion Williams and pulled it in as he crossed into the end zone. The whole offense ran down the field and mobbed him. So Derek Young had another big play later. I'll talk about that. After that series, I saw AJ Barner and Elijah Arroyo working on their celebratory handshake. So those two are kind of getting into midseason form and broing up there. Then Mike McDonald did one of my favorite things that they do, which is instead of they will do 1v1 in front of the entire team. So he will call out an offensive player, he'll call out a defensive player, and they go out there, and it can be Mike Morris was going up against Gray Zabel, right? And they have the line there, they have the quarterback snap the ball, but they only have one defender, right? And so Mike Morris goes against Gray Zabel. Gray Zabel stoned him, like absolutely won it. Then a guy that I think is having a pretty good camp quietly, Mike Jarrell absolutely stones Tyreek Smith. That was the next 1v1 in front of everybody. Then Brandon Peely goes up against Christian Haynes, and Brandon Peely has not been a pass rush guy. Like, that's not his game, but he just swats Christian Haynes with his right hand and knocks him like a good 2 feet over. Now Christian Haynes kind of recovered, but it was still a pretty impressive play from Brandon Peely that got him some daps when he got back to the sideline. And then the last 1v1 in front of the teams was, Broden. Tyrone Broden. Yes, that's what I thought. I was questioning my own memory. Tyrone Broden, the 6'5" receiver from Arkansas, went up against Nehemiah Pritchett. It was a good throw down the field, good coverage, and Broden couldn't quite come down with it. So a good rep there from Pritchett. In what is normally 1v1 pass rushing drills, they did 2v2 today pretty exclusively. So Byron Murphy and Boye Mafe going against Christian Haynes and Abe Lucas, or Leonard Williams and Mike Morris going against Olu Timmy and and Christian Haynes. It was a little too hard to get. It was a little hard to really be clear about who was winning these reps, because they were doing some combinatorial rushes where one guy, his job was not to beat the guy in front of him, but it was to pin the outside, the tackle. So then the other guy could swim inside, on a twist and beat the inside guy. Anyway, so I don't have a lot that I'll go over in terms of who won what reps. I will say there was the first true fight in camp, and this came a little bit late, where Anthony Bradford, of course, and Abe Lucas were going against Jared Ivey and someone else that I can't remember. And Anthony Bradford just throws Jared Ivey to the ground. Like, legit, was not a cheap shot. Jared Ivey did not like it. He got up and he shoved Anthony Bradford. Anthony Bradford threw a punch, and then everyone came in. There was a few more punches thrown by other guys, and then it was quick. It was over. And I'll say this. I don't think Anthony Bradford is ever, he's probably not going to be the guy that you say, hey, that's a fantastic pass rusher. But he's nasty. He's got an attitude. He's physical. And if part of what you're trying to do is have an identity that you are going to be the bigger, nastier, guys that are going to push other people around, and you're going to win getting off the bus sometimes, I'll take Anthony Bradford over Christian Haynes right now in that regard. Now, that doesn't mean that's how the team's going to go, but that's where I'm at. And, I think Jalen Sundell has a real shot at winning that right guard spot. But again, Anthony Bradford brings something that I'm not sure anybody else on that line brings. And I think the combination of Anthony Bradford and Abe Lucas could be a pretty physical, nasty run blocking pair. I still have real concerns about the pass protection for Anthony Bradford, as I said, but I like the edge that he brings. And I know that's probably not the most popular thing to say out loud, but that's where I'm at. So I like that he's the guy every single time that maybe pushes it a little farther than everybody else. I will say that Christian Haynes and Abe Lucas had a couple good reps. I thought Bryce Cabledew did not have a great day today. He got pushed around a little bit, which is disappointing. I've been hoping that he would show up. He has not had necessarily a great camp to this point. Hopefully that turns around, but that's kind of where things are. While we were watching these 2v2 pass rush drills, the quarterbacks and receivers were doing kind of, 5v5 or 7v7, whatever it was. Anyway, I think it was AJ Finley picked Jalen Milroe, pick 6 for against Jalen Milroe. So I didn't see the play, but I heard that's who threw it. And I did see that number 30 was the one who picked it off. So that happened. I'll say this. I think y'all know how big of a fan of Byron Murphy I am and how excited I was that they made that pick. And I think Jaron Reed made some headlines when he said the other day that he thinks he can be a defensive player of the year. I'll say this. Byron Murphy's, before he's a defensive player of the year, he's got to be an all-pro. He's got to be a pro bowler. And before he's any of those things, he has to be one of the best players in some of these drills where people cannot block him. And I'm not seeing that yet. I'm not seeing it yet. And I know Byron Murphy said he worked on pass rush this offseason. I'm not, I mean, he's strong, he's quick, but he is not the guy that's causing significant issues for the offensive line so far. That doesn't mean he won't, but I'd like to see more personally. I would like to see more. All right. So we get into the last part of team drills. There was a great play. I've been waiting to see this kind of play where Robbie Oots was lined up at fullback and they run a toss left, maybe it's a handoff, doesn't matter, to Zach Charbonnet. And Robbie Oots runs into the hole and Tyrese Knight meets him in the hole. And those two just crunch. And that's what padded practices are for. It was great to see, like, neither one of those guys gave any ground. Robbie Oots made the block, but Tyrese Knight did not get blown back. So kudos to both of those guys on that play. That was cool to see. Eric Saubert had a couple plays today, nothing big, but he looks like a capable occasional receiver on some of these boot plays. There's one play where they do a little toss end around to Marquez Valdez-Scantling to get him involved. There was a nice throw down the middle to Jackson Smith and Jigba by Sam Darnold. I think it was tipped at the very end, maybe by Ty Okada or maybe Tyrese Knight. I couldn't tell. I watched the replay a couple times and I couldn't quite see, but nice play by the defense there. Great throw. Just couldn't quite fit it in the tight space. So then next series we had Drew Lock in and it got testy again. There was a run to the right side and Elijah Arroyo was blocking Nick Emanwari and Arroyo took exception to something. I think Nick Emanwari pulled off the helmet of Elijah Arroyo, who then pulled off the helmet of Nick Emanwari. So the 2 second-round picks were going at it, had to be separated. It was good to see that. Derek Young made another big catch over the middle against Demarion Williams. Anthony Bradford almost got into another scuffle, this time with Brandon Peely. He blocked him to the ground, but then pretty quickly helped pick him up and gave him a hug. They hugged it out. So good on AB there. Next play, Quinton Bohanna. Good on him. He just shed Christian Haynes like he wasn't even there. Haynes was playing center on that rep. Not a great showing for Christian Haynes, but good to see Quinton Bohanna do something there. Let's see. Toward the end, Sam Darnold back in there, ran a nice slant to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Nice block by Robbie Oots on DeMarcus Lawrence on a run to Zach Charbonnet on the right side. So I thought Robbie had a nice day today, a better day today. Then they ran it to the left to George Halani, and there was a huge hole. Great block by Gray Zabel, Charles Cross to just blow it open on the left side. One of the bigger runs we've seen so far, and that was cool to see. There was a nice play, Drew Lock. The next series, the defense sent a nice blitz, but Drew Lock read it. There was Zach Charbonnet occupying the space that was vacated by the blitzers. Drew Lock hit him right away. So as the blitzers were coming, the ball was already out. Zach Charbonnet raced down the right sideline, would have been a big gain. The next series, Jalen Milroe throws deep to who else? Derek Young, who again mossed his defender. I did not see who was guarding him that time, but he went up and took it away from him. And then there was a big run up the middle of the next play. And then the next play after that was Jalen Milroe booting and running away from everybody. Then Sam Darnold comes back in, another nice throw to Jackson Smith and Jegba on a bootleg. There's a run to the left side. This time Eric Saubert puts Julian Love on the ground. Another good block from Gray Zabel and Charles Cross. At this point, the defense started calling for holding. They were looking to the refs and they're like, hey, that's a holding. I got to say, I wasn't seeing a lot of that. I think it was more a situation that the defense was getting frustrated that they were giving up some plays and were looking to the refs for some help. So I consider that good news, given how important it is that this team runs the football. But that was pretty late in the practice. Demarion Williams, good on him. He recovers after giving up a couple big plays. There was a deep pass to Marquez Valdes-Scantling that he broke up. Pass was from Drew Lock. And then, there was a last thing I'll probably say, a couple things, couple more plays. So there was a great pass from Drew Lock to Elijah Arroyo down the left sideline, and Arroyo was really savvy. Like, if you know the phrase late hands, it's when a receiver basically does not show that the ball is coming. So the defender with their head turned to the ball, their back to the ball, they don't necessarily know to put their hands up. So Arroyo just, sneaky, does not really give an indication the ball's coming, catches the ball right up against his chest, like beautiful catch, but good on Ty Okada, who then slaps it out of his hands. And I mean, Arroyo took a couple of steps after he caught it. It could have been considered a fumble, but I think it probably would have been an incomplete pass. Nice play by both players in my mind. It was nice to see Elijah Arroyo is capable of that kind of play. It was also good to see Okada make it. Arroyo drew a defense pass interference a couple plays later, but then the last play I'll kind of highlight, Jalen Milroe's in there, and he threw another interception. He was hit as he threw, though. This was not really on him. And guess who? Jalen Gaines was the guy who got the pressure and hit his arm as he threw. And this time he beat Luke Felix Fualalo. So that's kind of how things ended, but really productive, I think, session for all sides, but the offense and the run game and the offensive line, good for them. There was a lot of good coaching going on, and without any fans there, you kind of hear it and they could hear each other, and they were working on all sorts of things. Nice step forward. Good stuff there. I'm going to have to probably leave it at that. I know that there are some super chats, so let me get to those before I drop off. Corey Coleman, who's been a member for 12 months, says, thanks for everything, Brian. You're a stud and we love you. Well, I love you guys. Appreciate it. Avery Aguirre says, haven't been on a stream in a while, but still keeping up with your videos. I think we have a more physical Kyle Pitts with Arroyo. So pumped. Go Hawks. I hope he separates himself from Kyle Pitts, who's been very unproductive. And I think Arroyo hopefully can be more productive. But I think that's cool. And I like the fact that Arroyo is a little physical today with Nicky Manwari. Nano Taggart says, any thoughts on Cody White earning a more meaningful role? He seems solid at everything. I think that's a good evaluation of Cody White. I think he is solid at everything, but not exceptional at anything. And so, I think he's got a chance to earn some snaps. He's also a decent special teams player. I think he blocked a punt the first time he ever tried to block in on punt block last year. But, Marquez Valdes-Scantling brings something that other guys don't. I don't think MVS has been making a lot of plays so far, so the door is a little bit open. But let's see. Let's see how the rest of camp and preseason goes. I appreciate all you. I got to run because I got to go over to the next show. Seahawks Collective with Rob Staten, Michael Sean Dugar, and myself starts in 5 minutes over on the Seahawks Collective channel. Go check it out. I will see you there in just a few minutes. Take care, everybody.